Relationships are the foundation of nearly everything that happens in your classroom. This goes for online and remote classrooms as well. We need to build community and build relationships. If you look at the graphic on this slide, you can see that relationships are the foundation that can lead to trust. Trust is essential for students to take risks and have a growth mindset in your classroom, and that in turn leads to learning and growth. It all stems from those relationships. So as you go through this slideshow, ask yourself, how can I build and sustain positive relationships and classroom community in a digital environment? Look at the headings and kind of skim through the ideas. So there's a slide on before school begins. How can you reach out before the first day of school? And then how should you spend your first days of school? Really spend a lot of that time building relationships. Set up that core trust between you and your students with each other. During those first days of school, really focus on building relationships and a classroom community. One way to do this is to really teach the routines and technology that they will need if you need to pivot to a remote learning environment, but do it in the context of building relationships. Empower your students. If students feel empowered, they will feel valued and included. Make sure this feels like their classroom. Give them voice and choice, and then provide them coping strategies when things don't go well. Again, you're empowering them. Scan through the different community building strategies and find ways where you can help students have a voice in creating your classroom community. There's templates for different activities that you can apply with your students, such as designing a Bitmoji locker, or creating a pennant that represents them, or a slideshow where each student introduces themselves. There's other activities like team building activities and study buddies. Have students connect with each other online. It's not enough to have them work in isolation. Build that connection with their classmates, and then celebrate that. Have a team t-shirt, for instance. There's full class mixers you can do, whether it's a live video class through Google Meet or an activity that's asynchronous through a Schoology discussion or an assignment or a Padlet or a collaborative document. Look through these examples and find some that might work for you. Consider community building events. This especially works well in a Google Meet setting where you can have a virtual celebration together. Consider showcases that really highlight the great things that your students are doing in class. Celebrate their successes. And then provide individual recognition as well. So while we can celebrate as a class, you can also reach out individually to students and congratulate them on work well done. And finally, at the very end of your experience, we like to give students something to remember our classroom by. Consider some keepsakes and memories that they can create and take with them as a lasting memory of your class. So as you find examples that work for you in this slideshow, dig in a little deeper, consider ways to build community with your students and your classroom.